साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् साधन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. You are able to hear us, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna. Now I could mute my. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu. You are very much audible. Thank you, Prabhu. Can you just turn on the video, Prabhu?
Just a minute.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams. Prabhu, your face is not coming clearly to everybody.
My voice is not coming?
No, your voice is better, but your face is not. Yeah, now it is much better.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. I think I manage. Okay. Let me know when we can start.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama. My voice is properly audible.
Prabhu, the voice is breaking a bit in between.
Breaking in between.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Yeah, it's still, a little bit, there's a break in between. Yeah, that'll be helpful, Prabhu. I don't want to interrupt you in between the class, so it's better, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. How is it now, Prabhu?
It's perfect, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
If you're ready, we can start, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya on a Saturday morning. Today we have the privilege of having His Grace Nityananda Prabhu, and he would be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29 and verse 78. Prabhu, over to you. Please let me know if I need to share the verse or you would be doing it. I've given you the co-host rights.
You can share, Prabhuji, possible.
Sure, Prabhu. I'll do that. Over to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
How will you do? You chant Jayarada Madhava, Mangala Charan. What is the protocol system?
Yes, Prabhu. As per your this one, yes, we can do as per your wish, Prabhu. Absolutely. We would do a kirtan for about a minute or two. That will be perfectly okay. You can start with the kirtan as well, Prabhu.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Panachari यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 29 and text 78. Is that correct, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. यदाक्षैश्चरितं ध्यायन् यदाक्षैश्चरितं चरितान् ध्यायन् कर्म्याणि आचुनुते सकृत् कर्माण्याचिनुते सकृत् सति कर्माण्यविद्यायां सति कर्माण्यविद्यायां बन्धकर्माण्यनात्मनः बन्धकर्माण्यनात्मनः यदैक्षैः चरितं ध्यायन् यदैक्षैः चरितान् ध्यायन् कर्माण्याचिनुते सकृत् कर्माण्याचिनुते सकृत् सति कर्माण्यविद्यायां बन्धकर्माण्यनात्मनः बन्धकर्मण्यनात्मनः यदाक्षैः चरितान् ध्यायन् यदाक्षैः चरितान् ध्यायन् कर्माण्याचिनुते सकृत् कर्माण्याचिनुते सकृत् सति कर्मण्यविद्यायां बन्धकर्मण्यनात्मनः बन्धकर्मण्यनात्मनः। Synonyms: yada, when, akshaihi, by the senses, charitan, pleasure enjoyed, dhyayan, thinking of, karmani, activities, achinute, performs, asakrute, always, sati karmani, when material affairs continue, avidyayam, under illusion, bandhak, bondage, karmani, in activity, anatmanaha, of the material body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As long as we desire to enjoy sense gratification, we create material activities. When the living entity acts in the material world, he enjoys the senses. And while enjoying the senses, he creates another series of material activities. In this way, the living entity becomes entrapped as a conditioned soul. Purport: While in the subtle body, we create many plans to enjoy sense gratification. These plans are recorded in the spool of one's mind as bija, the root of fruitive activities. In conditional life, the living entities creates a series of bodies, one after another, and this is called karma bandhana. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita, yajnartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If we act only for the satisfaction of Vishnu, there is no bondage due to the material activity. But if we act otherwise, we become entrapped by one's material activity after another. Under these circumstances, it is to be supposed that by thinking, feeling, and willing, we are creating a series of future material bodies. In the words of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Anadi karma phale padi bhavarnava jale. The living entities falls into the ocean of karma bandhana as a result of past material activities. Instead of plunging oneself into the ocean of material activities, one should accept material activity only to maintain body and soul together. The rest of one's time should be devoted to engaging in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can attain a relief from the reaction of material activities. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Andeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yadakshaihi Charitan Dhyayan Karmanyachinute Sakrute Sati Karmanyavidyayam Bandhak Karmanyanatmanaha. As long as we desire to enjoy sense gratification, we create material activities. When the living entity acts in the material field, he enjoys the senses. And while enjoying the senses, he creates another series of material activities. In this way, the living entity becomes entrapped as a conditioned soul. Hare Krishna. My pranams to all the devotees in Bangalore. It's my great privilege and honor that I could get your association in this form. So I seek the blessings of previous acharyas and all the assembled Vaishnavas, all of you, to reflect Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada's words. So here is a conversation between Prachina Parishad and Sriman Narada Muni. In this particular verse, in one sense, the story of all of us has been explained. People like to hear about themselves in this world so much. So here is a explanation of our own life history of years together. How we ended up staying in this place. Yada akshayhi charitan dhyayan karman achinute sakrit. So the word akshay, even though it refers to the eyes, here it is taken for all the senses, since of all the senses, eyes is very prominent. So the word akshay is used for the direct sensual perception. Pratyaksha also. Pratyaksha is, akshay is eyes, but it refers to all the senses. So how the living entities have entrapped in the material body? Is it all over the world? People wants to know the reason behind any crime taken place. Also, people want to know what is the reason behind, what is the source behind, who did it like that. Or any good thing also happens, people want to know who did it. So here in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, the cause behind the disease is mentioned, how the jivas are entrapped in the material. One great devotee mentioned that there are three words which brought us into the material world, and three words which can take us from the material world. So what are the three words which have brought us into the material world? He said, I like it. So I like it. This is the three word which brought us to the material world. And what are the three words which can take us from out of the material world? So he said, there is Hare, Krishna and Rama. Akash, just few seconds. Akash, fan चालू करो, heat हो जाए. Sorry. So these three words. So I like it. So here Bhagavatam is speaking about how we came here. So Srila Prabhupada and the Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about that in the subtle body we create our next body. The two kinds of body. One is called as gross body, another is called as subtle body. So in the subtle body mainly refers to mind. Mind, intelligence and false ego, we say. So in the subtle body we create the next future body. So how things happens even in our own life, day-to-day life, you see that we experience things. We experience things in our life, and when we experience things, it has some impressions in our mind. So when we experience things, it creates certain impressions in our mind. So those impressions stays all the time inside in the mind. When certain opportunity comes, those impressions comes up. Just like a person who drinks, he doesn't have any experience of drinking before. But when he drinks for the first time, so he actually experiences. Those experiences stays in his mind as an impression. And those impressions stay, and then it goes, it's like in the water, if you put some coin, it goes inside and it stays. But the next day when he walks into the road, he may come across the same street where the shop is there. As soon as he sees a shop, that sight of the shop triggers the impression. It's called as samskara. And that samskara impels him to again perform the same activity. So in this way, the cycle is first anubhava, or experience through our senses. That anubhava creates certain samskaras. And that samskara stays in our heart. And that samskaras are triggered by certain situations. So if you go into the good situation, if, for example, person have gone to temple, so with his eyes and nose and tongue, he has experienced temple. With his eyes, he has taken beautiful darshan. With his tongue, he has tasted nice prasadam. With his nose, he smelled nice fragrance of the garland. So in this way, he had experience. So then, and this experience immediately disappears, but the samskaras, the impression stays in the heart. Again, in the next day, he goes to the same site and he sees the same flower. Then by smelling the flower, he will remember the deities, the temple, like that. So the samskara triggers again certain actions, and then you like to go to the temple, so you will act on that. So in this way, the samskara gets triggered by the situation. Then the samskara impels him to perform the same activity again. So in this way, and the same activity again creates an experience. That experience, even if it disappears later, the samskara again becomes more stronger. So again, even the bad activities also, he drinks and then the samskara stays. Again, he goes to the place, samskara get triggered, and he drinks again, that samskara becomes even more stronger. So in this way, this is a cycle of experience, samskara, and activity. So when the samskara takes place, stays in the heart or vasana, and again a person performs activity. So this activity can be divided into two. One is called as good activity, another is called as bad activity. What is good activity? Good activity are those activities which are recommended in the shastras, which is just good for the particular person. What are bad activities? Bad activities are those which are not recommended in the shastras, which would create bad effect for you. So these good activities and bad activities creates certain thing called, good activity creates a certain result called piety, and the bad activities create certain thing called impiety. So what is piety means? Punya. So sinful activity creates punya, and sinful activity creates papa, and good activities, pious activities create piety. So then this punya and papa, piety and impiety, it stays, and that piety has to will create another effect which is called as sukha or happiness. And the impiety will create another result called as misery. So the happiness is there, misery is there. So you have to experience happiness because of the result of piety. And how a person experiences happiness? Happiness is experienced through the medium of body. It could be gross body or subtle body, or both. So through the gross body and subtle body, a person experiences the happiness. Again, the misery also is experienced through the medium of gross body and subtle body. So because of which, to experience the happiness, he has to get another body. Or to experience the misery, he has to get another body, suitable body. So in this way, and with through the suitable body of to enjoy pleasure and to experience misery, he doesn't just experience happiness or misery, he also perform more activities. And that activity again creates the same cycle. So in this way, what is a cycle? Through the senses, a person performs the first activity. That activity creates an experience. That experience creates a samskara. And that samskara means the impressions. The impression stays in the heart. At particular situation, the impression comes out, and the impression impels him to perform certain activities. That activity could be either sinful activity or pious activity. Sinful activity produces certain result called impiety or papa, and the pious activity produces certain result called punya, and that papa gives result to happiness, and for enjoying the happiness or sukha, he has to get another body. And his papa creates another result called misery. To undergo the misery, he has to get another body or the same body. And with that body, while enjoying happiness or misery, he performs activity again. Again, that activity turns into experience. Experience turns into results into samskara. Samskara results into further activity, which can be either piety or impiety. Sukha, dukkha. Sukha creates a body. Enjoy sukha, you get another body. In this way, this is called a vicious cycle of birth and death cycle. So where everything is starting from avidya or ignorance. So ignorance of that I'm independent, I want to enjoy free from, independently enjoy different from Krishna, separate from Krishna. So that independence causes this cycle, that ignorance causes this cycle. So in this way, all the great devotees of all the sampradayas, they accept the vicious cycle. It is starting from avidya. Avidya results into karma. Karma results into anubhava results into samskara results into further activity, and those activities are either papa or punya. Papa creates papa creates particular thing called dukkha, and sukha, punya creates certain thing called sukha, and then or enjoy that body. So in this way, this is a vicious cycle. So human form of life is that how to break this cycle. So starting from avidya, that is the purpose of human life. So here, Prachina Bari, he is thinking that the goal of life is that being in this cycle of vicious cycle and only perform pious activity and enjoy the result. That is what he is thinking. He is thinking as a goal of life. But the problem is that one cannot just perform only pious activity and get away with that. While performing pious activity or while enjoying the piety, the results of the piety, which is called as happiness, the person is impelled to do by somehow or other certain sinful activities also. So in this way, he gets entrapped again and again. So the intelligent thing is, Narada Muni is telling that how a person has to come out of this vicious cycle of piety and impiety. So that the Narada Muni is saying, Yadekshaihi charitan dhyayanne karmani achinute asakriti. Asakriti means again and again. So again and again he performed different karma. Sati karman avidyayam, because of ignorance. So under illusion, bandhak karman yanatmanaha. So he gets entangled into the material body again and again. So this is called a vicious cycle. So even though in this verse the problem is discussed, Srila Prabhupada mercifully in the purpose it gives a solution also. What solution is giving? Yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. That when we the Srimad Bhagavad Gita also, it is very elaborately discussed that that this or particular activity is the cause of the difficulty. Can we stop the activity? So if the activity is the cause of difficulty, if we stop the activity, either piety or impiety. So if we stop the activity, then there won't be any samskara. When samskara is not there, then there won't be any kind of piety or impious activities. Pious activity or impious activities are not performed, then there won't be any piety or impiety. And if there is no piety and impiety, then there is no need to enjoy either happiness or misery. And there is no need to enjoy happiness and misery, then there won't be any material body further. So in this way, everything is starting from activity. So can we stop the activities altogether? So this is the common solution anybody can think of. But then in the Krishna spoke in the Gita that without going to the root cause of karma, you cannot stop karma. Nahi kashit kshanamapi jadutishtatya karma krute karyate hi avashaka karma prakriti jan gunai. So even for a second, one cannot stop, one cannot be in the state of inactivity. Why? Krishna says to Arjuna that, to maintain your body, you have to perform some activity. You cannot completely stop the activity. So Krishna blocked that particular option of not performing any activity. So then at the same time, what we can do that if we cannot stop the activity, we'll perform either one of these activities. So then we suffer. So then Krishna gives option that simultaneously perform activity, at the same time don't suffer the result. So that's what he gave the proposal. Yajna arthat karmon anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Yajna arthat, yajna refers to the Supreme Lord Krishna, that he perform activity for the pleasure of Krishna. Such activity will not produce any result. So why Krishna says akarma? So karma is a particular item which always comes with the result. Just like if in certain things in this world, if you buy, it will not come alone. It has to come with another thing. It doesn't come alone. Just like if you buy flower, it comes with a fragrance, isn't it? I want only flower, not fragrance. So if you buy a fragrant flower, the fragrance also comes with it. It comes always together. Similarly, if we perform activity, karma, then automatically certain result, either piety or impiety, sticks to our personality. So, but Krishna says perform akarma. So akarma means non-activity. So why Krishna says perform non-activity? How can he perform non-activity? So then what is that non-activity? It's something new. So then the scripture says, Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sparanam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandram, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. These are the activities which are called as akarma. But this is also karma, this is also activity. And we have just mentioned that any activity means which always comes together. Just like a flower comes with fragrance. Similarly, karma comes with a particular results. The results called piety or impiety. So here, how can you call this akarma, non-activity? But we are singing with hands and mouth. We are dancing with our legs. We are eating prasadam with our mouth. These are all activities. So how can you say this is akarma, non-activity? So the reason Krishna says non-activity is that because this activity is performed, but it doesn't have any effect which generally an activity produces. Even in the day-to-day world life also, like sometimes the patient goes to the doctor for an injection. Recently, all over the world, people have taken injection. So when you go to the physician, when he puts injection on our hand or on our body, so injection means the part and parcel of that. People have idea that it gives some pain, isn't it? So injection means it pain. It gives some pinching pain like that. So the flower means fragrance. So it always comes together. But somehow or there some places we might experience that certain expert doctors or the nurse, he or she can put an injection which doesn't give any pain. So then we are anticipating some pain, severe pain or something. So nowadays a lot of technologies, very small needles are there, pointed needles are there. So by putting with a small needle, sometimes pain is avoided. So the doctor is putting the injection and the patient is showing the body and the injection is put. It was put in such a way that no pain is experienced at all. Then the patient exclaims, doctor, have you, I don't think you have put injection, in PX. Out of happiness, they say that you didn't put injection at all, I didn't get any. Why they are saying that he or she knows that that doctor have put the injection, but out of happiness that he didn't give any pain, we say that he didn't put any injection at all. He didn't put at all injection. I didn't get any pain. But why the particular notion, particular usage is there? Because the effect of the normally what effect the injection gives the pain, when it is not there, we ascribe that to the action itself. And doctor also smiles and laughs, So he takes the money and the person who says that you didn't give any injection at all, I didn't get any pain, he or she also gives the money. So why the particular usage is there? Because the effect is not experienced. They could have told that I didn't get any pain, but they say that you didn't put any injection at all, I didn't get any pain. So why we say that? Because the effect is very much closely connected to the action. So the action and the results are inseparable effect. But here when they put the injection, the effect called the pain is not at all there. So then what we say out of happiness that doctor, I don't think you put any injection at all. So we ascribe to the action itself. Similarly here Krishna says that you perform certain activity called akarma, called non-activity. Why it is called non-activity? Because this activity is as good as non-activity, because this activity will not produce any result called piety or impiety. So that's why Krishna, out of great excitement or great the effectiveness of this particular devotional service, exclaims that this activity is called non-activity, called akarma. Why it is akarma? Even though it is a karma, it's bhakti karma, it is all activities. In fact, Acharya says that devotional service is called as devotional service. The bhakti is born in the senses. Through the senses, we perform a devotional service. These are all activities. It's a serious activities, either mental activity or physical activity. But at the same time, it is called as non-activity, akarma, from akarma, because it is greatness, it is effect, it is a great amusement. Amazing thing is that it doesn't produce any result which generally produced by the particular activity. While eating food in the hotel, same activity that you get. If you eat some nonsense food, you get impiety. If you eat your food in the mode of goodness with some charity, you may get piety. Yeah. So in this way, at the same time, same eating in the Krishna's temple, Krishna's prasadam, we get neither piety or impiety. In this way, the same activity, but the result is completely the one thing is producing result, another thing is not producing result of the material result. So because it is not producing any result, it is as good as no activity. Materially, it doesn't give any results. So that's why it is exclaimed as akarma. So that akarma Krishna is recommending in the purpose of Prabhupada is saying yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. That when you perform an activity for the pleasure of Krishna, that activity is called akarma. Why? It is akarma because it doesn't produce a result of the general karma we perform in this world. So because it is not producing any result, it is as good as no activity called akarma. So that is a great understanding. So so this is a technique. This is a technique or a secret Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita. That's why Sarvo Upanishato Gavo Dogdha Gopalanantanaha. That this Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. So in the deep places, deep heart, what the Veda Purusha, the personified Vedas are having deep in their heart, Krishna churned all of them. He took all the essence and he gave us in the Bhagavad Gita very easily. That's why it is called Raja Vidya, Raja Gukya. Very secret thing which are there in the Vedas, Krishna is giving us very easily. So what is that? That particular, you perform the activity, we cannot stay away from the activity, but perform for the pleasure of Krishna, which is called as akarma. So Srila Prabhupada tactfully engaged all the devotees in akarma. And what is this akarma? It is called as devotional service. So what is devotional service? The Shastra says that Rishikesha Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So what is bhakti? Very simple definition is that Rishikena, Rishika refers to the senses. Rishikena. So the Rishika refers to the senses. Through the senses, you perform activity for the pleasure of the master of the senses. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Rishika, Isha. Rishika are the senses, Isha means the master. So Rishika's Isha is called as Rishikesha. So why Krishna is called as the master of the senses? Because without his sanction, the senses cannot perform their activity. Just like the electricity, the fan is running, we are all using our electronic instruments. Without the electricity entering into that, they cannot perform their own activities. Sriman Madhvacharya, he says, Krishna enters into the material world. He enters into the living beings. Why? Because Swata Pravarti Ashakyatvat. That this material nature, material energy cannot perform anything on their own. Swata Pravarti Ashakyatvat. The fan cannot run on its own. The vehicle cannot run on its own. The electricity has to enter into the fan. The fuel has to enter into the vehicle, or electricity has to enter into the vehicle. Then only it can move. So it cannot move on its own. Similarly, Krishna takes different forms. As Paramatma, he takes in three forms, three Paramatma, and enter into the various places in the material world and activates them. Karanada Vishaya Vishnu, he activates the Mahatattva and creates innumerable universes. And Garbhoda Vishaya Vishnu, he enters into each and every universe and activates them and creates 14 planetary system. Then again he enters into this 14 planetary system as Shiroda Vishaya Vishnu and enters into the heart of all the jivas and activates them, inspires them. So in this way, these three Paramatmas, they enter into all these places and inspire them and make them act. So in this way, when Paramatma enters into the Jivatma, then only Jivatma gets power, and in turn the senses become active. So in this way, the senses are acting, doing their activities because of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That's why he is called as a master of the senses. So that master of the senses, Rishikesha, and naturally the servant has to engage themselves in the service of the master. So the Rishikas, the senses has to be engaged in the service of the master. That is called as devotional service. Rishikesha Sevanam. Rishikesha Sevanam. Bhakti Uchyate. So, uh, so this is a solution our acharyas are giving. In this, people in this world are talking about various problems and solutions. How to solve the problems in the material world, in the world. Even scientists are talking about it. The politicians are talking about, entrepreneurships are talking about it, businessmen are talking about it. Everybody is talking about it, even though they are not realizing that they themselves create the problem. But so the whole world is talking about the how to solve the problem in the material world. But interestingly, Krishna is talking in a different term. So Krishna's equation is that instead of solving the problem in the material world, we consider the material world itself as a problem. One time Srila Prabhupada was walking in the park. So on the way, while walking, there was a very decorated dustbin was there. So then Prabhupada said that sometimes we see like monkey shape or some animal shape, dustbins are kept. So some of the Prabhupada asked, what is this? The devotees told that it's a dustbin. And Prabhupada said that Prabhupada told the devotees, throw the whole material world into the dustbin. So so for the devotees, that they are not trying to solve the problem in the material world, because material world itself is a problem. Material body itself is a problem. So instead of trying to cure the problem in the material body, instead of trying to solve the problem in the material world, consider the material world, material body itself is a problem, and the problem has to be removed. So that is a different perspective. So the whole material world, or everybody's working how to solve the problems. They wanted to create a material world without any problem of birth, old age, disease, and death. But it is impossible. Just like somebody trying to work hard, trying to keep the toilet very nice and clean. So how much ever you keep toilet clean and nice, so that is not a place of place for a gentleman to stay all the time there. So even if it is a very clean and modern, nice toilet, it is still a toilet. So that's what the modern people are, the scientists are working about. How to keep the toilet, yes, a beautiful place, a clean place. Toilet is toilet. But the Vedic Shastras are giving an option that instead of solving the problems in the material world, consider the material world itself is a problem, and we give the solution to get out of this place, get out of the toilet, get out of the jail, and the solution is that you go to a better place. So that is what the Shastras are, Shastra perspective. So how to do that? That secret, that technology is Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevanam. So using your senses, serve Rishikesha. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karmabandhana. Perform devotion service, engage your senses in the service of Krishna. That will take you out of this cycle of avidya, activity, samskara, punya, papa, resulting papa, sukha, dukkha, which results another body. So this cycle can be broken with the technique of the help of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavata. So what is the secret of that? The secret is that you have to perform bhakti, devotional service. So where is a devotional service? Bhakti is available. Next question. Whenever we have solution, okay, there is a disease spreading everywhere. So we are people are looking for a medicine or a vaccine. Where it is available, this laboratory is producing, how to get it, where to get it. Several informations are given. Like that, if the bhakti is a Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevanam. So if that is a solution, where it is available, it's the next question. So our great acharyas analyzed it, how to get that, where to get it. So they discussed that the bhakti, is it, can we purchase the bhakti with certain you know uh, things available in this world. So we have to find out where it is available, what price we have to pay it. So those discussions are there in the Shastras, how to get bhakti. So the Shastras are describing, just like Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is absolute and independent, he comes on his own. Krishna says, Sambhavami Atmamayaya, Paritranaya Sadhunam, Vinashaya cha Dushkritam, Dharma Samsthapanarthaya, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. I am appearing in every yuga. But is it Krishna is forced to appear? No. Sambhavami Atmamayaya. That I am appearing on my own, out of my sweet will. He is not forced to appear. That's why Krishna says, my activities are divine. Janma karma cha me divyam. So Krishna comes out of his own sweet will. So our Acharya say, just like Krishna comes down into the material world out of his own sweet will, Swachayaiva, Swaichayaiva, Swachayaiva, Yadu Raghvadi Vamsheshu Avatarate. Just like Krishna is appearing in the Yadu dynasty and Raghu dynasty as Krishna and Lord Ram out of his own sweet will. Similarly, his devotional service, bhakti unto Krishna, she also appears out of her own sweet will. Where she appears? She appears into the senses of the living entities. So Bhakti Devi descends. So just like Krishna says, I don't reveal myself to everybody. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrata. I don't reveal myself to everybody. Yasyeva vrunute tanuswam. When Krishna chooses, that person only gets Krishna, because Krishna is independent. Similarly, Bhakti Devi also uh, cannot be purchased, Bhakti Devi cannot be forced to uh, get by us, but she has to come out of her own sweet will. She descends. So Krishna descends out of his own sweet will, out of his causeless mercy, independently. Similarly, Bhakti Devi also has to descend out of her causeless mercy, independently, out of her own sweet will. So that's what the Shastras are telling. So if this is the condition, and the problem in the material world is that the jivas are entangled in this vicious cycle of birth and death because of this, because of their piety and pious activities and sinful activities. Only solution is to perform akarma. Akarma is nothing but bhakti, and the bhakti we have to receive it. And how to purchase bhakti? We cannot purchase, because bhakti is like Krishna, independent. They have to come on their own. So if this is the case, how we can get bhakti? That is the next question asked. So some people say that let us perform lot of pious activities. Pious activities such as uh, planting lot of trees, giving lot of food in charity, cloth in charity, digging wells, creating ponds, and helping the poor. So in this, let us perform a lot of pious activity. By accumulating pious activities, we can get bhakti. So if that is the case, our Acharya says that that cannot be done. Why? If we perform pious activity and by which we can get bhakti to Krishna, then what it becomes? Bhakti won't be independent. Bhakti is subservient to your pious activities. Piety can produce bhakti. So then it would be independent. So we cannot achieve bhakti with our pious activities. So that has been rejected. Okay, then what is the cause of bhakti? How we can get bhakti? Is it because of some unknown reason we get bhakti? Somebody may say like that. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in discussing this particular topic in Madhuri Kadambani, he rejects that bhakti cannot be received by unknown cause also. Why? Something known cannot be received by something unknown. It doesn't look logical. So he rejects that also. So then some intelligent person, he proposes, Chakravarti Pad is telling, that we can receive bhakti by the mercy of Krishna. So if Krishna becomes Krishna is merciful, by Krishna's mercy we can receive bhakti, devotional service. So that looks interesting answer. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur rejects this also. This is also not correct. By Krishna's mercy one cannot get bhakti. Why? What is the problem? The problem, he says, that by Krishna's mercy one receives bhakti. Then the question comes, what is the cause of Krishna's mercy? Isn't it? What is the cause of Krishna's mercy? That we have to think. Because if we know the cause of Krishna's mercy, then we can get Krishna's mercy. If we get Krishna's mercy, then we can get bhakti. When we get bhakti, then we can perform akarma. When we perform akarma, then there is no samskara which creates piety or impiety. And if there is no impiety and piety, there is no need of experiencing sukha dukkha. If there is no need to experience sukha dukkha, then there is no need of any body, further material body. If there is no further material body, then there won't be any further karma and this cycle. In this way, we can get back to, we'll solve the problem. So this is what we are thinking. So what is the cause of Krishna's mercy? So when we to understand what is the cause of Krishna's mercy, so then somebody may say that the cause of Krishna's mercy is that I offered him lot of bhoga. That's why Krishna become merciful. Or I built temple to Krishna. That's why Krishna become merciful. So then if that is the case, again question goes further. And what is the cause that you offered so much of bhoga to Krishna? Then we may to say that I could offer a lot of bhoga to Krishna because I earned a lot of money in my office. Okay, then how did you earn a lot of money by which you offered bhoga to Krishna, by which Krishna became merciful, by which you got bhakti, and by which you came out of this above mentioned cycle? But then they made to say that the cause of me getting money is that I work in the office. Again, what is the cause? Then how did he work in the office? Then he may say that I studied in this college. In this way, in order to understand the source of bhakti, the cause of bhakti, you have to think so many things. And this understanding is not proper. Chakravarti Pada rejecting. So because of this infinite regression, what is the cause? What is the cause? What is the cause? Because we have to get bhakti, isn't it? So not to get bhakti, we are seeing how another person is receiving some, where he got the good medicine, we get this in this particular shop. Then we also go and buy. We'll go to the shop, isn't it? So in order to get the solution of this cycle, which is mentioned in this in this verse of the Bhagavatam, that the solution, in order to get the solution, we have to know from where the solution is coming from. So while understanding various things, we already rejected pious activity or unknown source. So Krishna's mercy could be the good choice. But then how to get Krishna's mercy? Again, the cause goes on, goes on. We are not able to determine what is because of the infinite regression. It is called as anavastha. What is anavastha means? That apramanika ananta padartha kalpana dhara vishranti abhavaha is called anavastha. What is infinite regression means? Unnecessary of thinking about certain cause which has another cause, which has another cause, a nested cause and effect. In this way, there is no end to it. So this is, and only when you understood the real cause, then we can't get your solution, which is called bhakti. So Chakravarti was rejecting this, that this suffers. If you say Krishna's mercy is a cause of bhakti, then it suffers a problem of infinite regression called anavastha. So then, how to get bhakti? What is the cause of bhakti? Again, Chakravarti Pad is giving another option. Somebody is telling, somebody told that instead of saying Krishna's mercy is the cause of bhakti, let us consider causeless mercy of Krishna is the cause of bhakti. So what is the difference between the previous one and this one? Previous one is Krishna's mercy is the cause. Now what he says, Krishna's causeless mercy. The previous understanding suffered a particular problem of anavastha, infinite regression. And here it is not a problem. Why? We said causeless mercy. When it's in causeless mercy, then you cannot go what is the cause of Krishna's causeless mercy. Already it is causeless. So let us consider Krishna's causeless mercy gives us bhakti, and the bhakti gives us a solution, which is called as akarma. And bhakti akarma gives a solution of this problem which we are stuck in this material. So then Chakravarti Pad is telling this is also not the proper understanding. Krishna's causeless mercy also doesn't give bhakti. What is the problem? He says that if Krishna's causeless mercy is the cause of bhakti, then everybody should get bhakti. Why? Because Krishna, being a god, he is impartial. Samoham sarvabhuteshu. That I am not partial to any. I am equal to all. Everybody is Krishna children. If mother is saying that I will only feed the first child, I will not feed the second child, and vice versa. How can she can be a mother? So mother, father means they equally love all the children. The love can be according to their need and wants. That is different thing. But the love is there. Similarly, Krishna is Aham Bija Pratapita. I am the seed giving father of all. Maya Dakshena Prakriti. The material world is moving under my supervision. So, so Krishna is all merciful, is equal to all. So then if we say Krishna's causeless mercy is a cause of bhakti, even though you are out of the anavastha problem, infinite regression, that we got the understanding Krishna's causeless mercy is a cause of bhakti. So let us try to get Krishna's causeless mercy. But the acharyas are saying that even Krishna's causeless mercy cannot be the cause of bhakti. If that is a fact, then everybody will be chanting Hare Krishna at this time, or chanting Krishna as any other name. That we are not seeing like that. Not everybody is becoming devotee. If everybody is not becoming devotee, then Krishna's causeless mercy is only flowing to somebody, not to somebody else. If Krishna's causeless mercy, Krishna is giving to somebody and not giving to somebody, then he is impartial. And if he is impartial, then he cannot be called as God. Right? By God, by definition, is impartial. So Chakravarti Pad is telling that Krishna's causeless mercy is also not the cause of bhakti. If this is a fact, if we take like this, then Krishna will be faulty Krishna. He will having the fault of impartiality. So then how we can get bhakti? What is the cause of bhakti? I want bhakti. I want to get out of this vicious cycle. I want a solution. Then Chakravarti Pad is telling that so the bhakti we have to receive, and the bhakti we need to receive, that bhakti has to be sent to us. We have to get the bhakti. How can you get the bhakti? Krishna gives, he will become impartial. Even though Krishna's own energy is devotional service, bhakti we performing towards Krishna, but Krishna doesn't. If he gives bhakti to somebody, not going to give somebody, it's difficult. So then from where we actually receive bhakti? Chakravarti Pad is telling that just like in a family, if some father or mother, if they brought some 4 mangoes, and if they have 5 children in their home, so if they give 4 children mango, not the 5th one, it will be difficult. So they will be which one they will avoid giving. So sometimes what the parents they do, that they call the elder son, and they tell the elder son, you distribute this mango amongst all of you. So if they tell that, the elder brother, he distributes to their brothers and sisters, and he may not give it to one of the brothers. We have only 5 mangoes. So then the kids cannot tell and complain the parent that you become impartial, you become partial. Why did you? Parents will simply tell, I gave to your brother, and he only did it. They can escape. And the brother, nobody will argue to the brother, why he became impartial, because they are all equals. So the brother may have their own likings and dislikings. So next time this boy will do something unfavorable to him and favorable to others. So this is not a problem in the home. But the parents become impartial, then there will be a big problem. So similarly, what Krishna does, Krishna tells that Krishna takes this bhakti and invests. Bhakti is Krishna's property. There is no doubt about it. But Krishna takes this particular opulent, great medicine called bhakti and hands over to the devotees and tells the devotees, you distribute this bhakti to whoever you like. So he gives a key in the hands of the devotees. Okay, then the devotee distribute bhakti. Then the question comes, if the devotee distribute bhakti, then will they not be afflicted with the fault of being partial? Chakravarti is telling, no, there won't be any fault of being partial. If devotee become partial, there won't be any, there is no fault. If Krishna become partial, there is a fault because he is God, he is like a parent. But the devotee become partial, it is not a fault because it is normal thing. Chakravarti example, Kripa Maitra, what is the verse? Forgot. The Madhyam Adhikari, he deals with different people in different way. So who is a Madhyam Adhikari? He becomes very friends with the devotees of Krishna. He has a love for Prema Maitri Kripa Paksha Karoti Samadhyama. He becomes friends. He loves the devotees. He becomes compassionate to the innocent, ignorant living entities, and he becomes very. He neglects those who are envious of Krishna. So in this way, he discriminates in the world. That's what his duty is all about. So Madhyam Adhikari, he deals with different people in different way. So Ishware tadadhineshu balisheshu dishashu cha. Ishware, with Ishwara, he exhibits love. Ishware tadadhineshu, with Adhina, with the devotees, the Madhyam Adhikari becomes very friendly. Balisheshu, those who are living entities who are suffering in this world, who are ignorant but innocent, and they are ready to accept the solution if it is given. With them, the Madhyam Adhikari become very compassionate. Maitri, Kripa, he become very, very compassionate. But some are ignorant, but they are not innocent. They are arrogant, ignorant and arrogant. With them, the devotees keeps distance. So in this way, Madhyam Adhikari behaves with 4 people in 4 different ways. Ishware tadadhineshu balisheshu dishashtucha. The Ishwara, he becomes affectionate. He gives his love. With the devotees, become friends, and with the envious people, he neglects them, and with the ignorant people, innocent people, he becomes compassionate. So this compassionate devotee gives bhakti to others. So then there is no, so him being this kind of partiality is not his fault. Just like if the jasmine flower has thorn in it, it is faulty, but rose flower can have thorn in it. So it is not faulty. The butter has thorn, it is a fault, but the rose flower has a thorn, it is a natural. Everybody accepts it. It's naturally, it's like that. So similarly, Madhyam Adhikari, if he is partial, he is not at fault. There is no partiality or fault will come on him. So that is not his fault. So Krishna gives the bhakti to the devotee's heart, and the devotee gives bhakti to all other living entities. So that is a cause of the solution. So how the devotee gives? The devotee gives out of his compassion. So then Chakravarti is telling that again he creates another problem. that you spoke that how Krishna is independent, he comes out of his own free will. Similarly, Bhakti Devi is independent, she comes out of her own free will. But you are saying that Bhakti Devi is independent, but now you are saying that Bhakti Devi, we receive Bhakti Devi because of the compassion, because of the daya of the devotees. Then Bhakti Devi is not independent, she is depending on the devotees' compassion. She is depending on the devotees for to reveal herself. Aham Prakash Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavta. That I won't. Krishna has his own independent. Whoever wants, he will reveal himself. But now Bhakti Devi cannot reveal herself independently. She has to depend on this devotee. Then how can you say she is independent? Then Chakravarti is telling that no, it's not like that. That uh, definitely Bhakti Devi is revealing herself because of the devotee's compassion. Otherwise, we won't be getting bhakti. Because of Srila Prabhupada compassion, the whole world is getting bhakti now. So that is a fact. At the same time, how bhakti is independent, Bhagavata is telling that the devotees have the compassion to give bhakti to others. Why they have the compassion? Why not somebody else? The reason is that Chakravarti is telling because Bhakti Devi have entered into the heart of the devotees. That's why the devotees have compassion. So Bhakti Devi enters into the heart of the devotees, and because Bhakti Devi enters into the heart of the devotees, the Bhakti Devi uh, produces a quality called daya in the heart of the devotee, and that daya, compassion, impels the devotee to give bhakti to the other living entities, and then other living entities receive bhakti, and that bhakti, when you perform that akarma, which destroys this vicious cycle. So in this way, Chakravarti is telling that Bhakti Devi is independently, Bhakti is a cause of Bhakti. So in our life, it's not that because we have performed a lot of pious activity, we are great, we are so elevated, we receive Bhakti. No, Bhakti we are receiving only out of the causeless mercy of our own self. So Bhakti gives Bhakti. So that is a beautiful understanding we hear from our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. So Srila Prabhupada, one time, sometime devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, what qualification we have, we received this great opportunity to serve Krishna from you. We are not able to understand. So Srila Prabhupada said that we have no qualification, we have no qualification. Prabhupada said, I created your qualification. So that is a causeless mercy. So uh, when people think that they're entitled in devotional service, also little later, sometime our mind becomes, I'm entitled to do this. I have a right to do this. I have a right to get this. So sometimes we become caught up with our rights and entitlement and our, uh, our importance. But actually speaking, that just like a beggar, he cannot demand and a rich person to give money to him. He can only beg. So in this way, the whole process of bhakti, the technology, the technique what Krishna is recommending is the Yajnarthat Karmononyatra. Srila Prabhupada is quoting this verse, that perform devotional service unto Krishna. And that privilege, that fortune is not it's not our, it's not that we earn that, actually it descends, it comes automatically by the grace of Bhakti Devi. So the grace of Krishna, the grace of Bhakti Devi, grace of Krishna invested with the devotee's heart, and Bhakti Devi descends there and she comes to devotee's life. So that's why in the process of devotional service, uh, it is a great science and technology. But to receive it, we need to have this understanding that that not by my endeavor, not by my uh, qualification, I'm getting this bhakti, but it's a great causeless mercy. So here, the technology or the understanding to receive bhakti is that one has to be trinatapi sunichena karorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That I have no qualification, just like trinatapi sunichena. Trina, the uh, grass in the street, it tolerates, it becomes very I am the most fallen than anybody else. The trina cannot compete with the trees, it considers itself most fallen. So that kind of mentality the living entity should be, the devotee should have. It is, I'm the most fallen. And taroriva sahishtuna, taror api sahishtuna. Like the tree, and the tree, it doesn't demand water, it just stays in one place. And it doesn't demand water. When water comes, it grows. Whether water comes or not, it doesn't stop giving its fruits. It doesn't demand, either it stops serving others. Till its last existence is there, it keeps giving to others. So in this way, when we have this particular attitude, then out of our causeless mercy, Bhakti Devi enters into our senses through the grace of the devotees. And when she enters, that is the only solution to get out of the vicious cycle of what we discussed today. Vedakshaihi charitandhyayan karman achinate sakrute sati karman avidyayam. The cause of avidya, the cause of the karma bandha, bandha karman yanatpanaha. This is the only way to get out of the miseries. So that fortune is been bestowed to all of us, that by the grace of Krishna's devotees and by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and his devotees, that we got this great opportunity. So now and then we have to remind ourselves that this is not a earned one, it is actually received one. The mercy cannot be earned, it has to be received. So that is a understand. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Thank you for all of you patiently hearing.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the very in-depth understanding for the root cause. I think for the first time, on this level of understanding, thank you very much for sharing this. I will not repeat too many, but I liked a few things. This is about 3 words which gets us here is I like it. The 3 words which can get us out of this entanglement is Hare Krishna and Rama. That's amazing. And you also wonderfully brought about this entire thing of how the avidya leads to the karma, and then anubhava, the samskara, activity which leads to papa, punya, and everything. So the cycle is so clearly defined. Thank you so much. And you very nicely summarized after the in-depth analysis to say that what we have got is something we have not earned anything. It is nothing, but it is actually we have no qualifications to receive it. Rather, it is Bhakti Devi's mercy, and she entered into our senses and through the grace of devotees and gurus. So thank you so much, Prabhu. I'll just open up the lines for devotees to ask questions or share their reflections. Open lines.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Pranams to you. My name is Prasanatma Balram Das.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Prabhu, I had a quick question, if I can ask. See, actually, while in the analysis, in the thing that you just explained, we came to the point of getting to Trinadapi Sunichena Karorapi Sahishnuna. Now, this Trinadapi is the quality that we have to imbibe within ourselves, is what came out. I mean, you were referring to that. So is that going to be selective? I mean, I know it should not be, but then now like say, after this, then I have to be Trinadapi Sunichena Karorapi Sahishnuna. So then I know the person who has bhakti is a devotee. So I'd be that for Trinada. I mean, I'll try to display that quality for a devotee, and then probably a non-devotee, because we as grasses, we are in the dual thing. We have material world as well as then the temple, the association, and all of that. So there is a tendency that we might end up being selective in our in imbibing these or in exhibiting these qualities of Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna. So is that a good start or it's a bad start? I don't know. I mean, your thoughts on that, Prabhu. So what do you think?
Well, this Trinatapi Sunichena Tararupi Shaishuna is not directly mentioning only for the devotees. Actually, for the devotees, it is said that the devotee should see everything in connection with Krishna and acts accordingly. Anasaktasya vishayan yataham upayujyataha nirbandhe krishna sambandhe vairagyam yuktam uchyate. That one doesn't reject anything, doesn't see anything not connected to Krishna. Prapanchakataya buddhya harisambandha vastunaha Mokshavi paridyago vairagam palgu katyate. That anybody says anything not connected to Krishna and rejects them, his vairagi is also palgu. So we have, in this world, we have to engage, we get engaged in everything. People around us and things around us, world around us. So we have to see connection of Krishna, then automatically we give respect. Automatically we see the divinity in that. At the same time, we have to practically deal with everything also. Like when Prabhupada was in New York, one devotee was, Haigriva Prabhu, he was typing Prabhupada books in the initial time. So one time, Haigriva Prabhu was working on this typewriter. To pull the typewriter or push it, he used his leg and he pushed it. So then Prabhupada told that you should not do this. It is a typewriter, you should not disrespect it. So he told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, he said, this is matter. This Krishna is supreme, and this is the matter. So why you have to respect matter? Then Prabhupada said that this may be matter, but it is Krishna's matter, it is Krishna's energy. So you have to give respect. So even in India, outside world, normal culture also, so we give respect even to the non. I don't know nowadays. Previously, even in some places, the newspaper also they tell don't step on the trees, even though it has all obnoxious stuff written nowadays. But it is a letters and it's like Vidya, people call it. So some kind of respect culture is there. So one has to give respect, even to a dog, one can give respect, but not that you have to obeisance to them. Accordingly, everybody needs to, we can say everybody is superior to us. So one devotee asked His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj in one meeting, he asked, no, there was a drama festival. After the festival, there was a meeting with all the participants, and Maharaj was encouraging them. So, and he was telling that we should all humble. We are not performing. Krishna's mercy is giving us, devotee's mercy is giving us opportunity to serve. Like that he was speaking. So one devotee asked a question that Maharaj, you said Trinatapi Sunichena, it is okay. We can try our best to be humble in front of the devotees. So how is it possible? How can I observe this principle to a non-devotee, karmi? So to say karmi. So then Maharaj answered, he said that one can be humbler in front of the non-devotees also. So it's quite interesting technique, understanding he gave. He said that when you are walking in the road, you see somebody smoking cigarette and walking around, and you may think that in your heart you will think that I am superior to him because I don't do this sinful activity. I chant Hare Krishna. Even a new devotee who is not yet started following all the principles, but is started trying to follow the principle in chanting Hare Krishna, he can think himself superior to that person who is smoking or is drinking or moving around. But Maharaj said that even a serious devotee can feel himself lower than that person who is smoking cigarette and walking around. So we are all surprised. How is it possible? How can I say myself fallen than that person? He is smoking, is addicted to all sinful activities. I am not doing that. I am following for regulative principle, chanting Hare Krishna. How can I be not superior to that person? Then Maharaj answered. He said that that you should think that I am such a wretched person, sinful person. By the grace of the mercy of the devotees, I have been given this opportunity because of by which I am able to follow principles and chant Hare Krishna. But this is that is because of my fortune I got this opportunity. I came out of sinful activity. But unfortunately, this person is walking in the street, smoking cigarette or drinking. He didn't receive that fortunate mercy. So if I somehow then become instrumental in giving this fortunate fortune to him, this person can become wonderful devotees thousands and millions of times better than me. So only difference between me and him is that I become fortunate because of the devotee's grace, and he is not become fortunate. But if somehow that I can make him receive, I can make him become fortunate, then he will be so advanced in devotion service. He will do really can do better service than me. So in this way, consciously with our heart, we can feel ourselves lower than even the sinful people we are dealing around. And with that heart, if we can with compassion and humility approach them and give bhakti to others, then that will be very sweet, and we will not become unnecessarily proud also. So it's not that we have to go and pay obeisances to that smoker or a drunkard and think that I'm most fallen than you. We won't be doing that, but we can be compassionate, try to help them, guide them. But within our heart, we don't have to have the feeling of superiority. I am superior to you. So we can only think that I am fortunate. Let me make the other person also fortunate. So this is a great learning we learned. So one can exhibit, one can practice the quality of Trinatapi Sunichena from the devotees, and also with our neighbors, our parents, our family members, even our colleagues in the office and all. Even the ant and the dog also one can practice this. Of course, it's easy to speak, but at the same time, one should use the intelligence. That's why Shastra says that that how we exhibit this quality. Madhyamadikari exhibits 4 different ways. Ishware tadadhinyeshu palisheshu dishashucha. At different levels we do this. But in the heart, one can feel humbler than anybody, even to the blade of grass also. Kaviraj Goswami is saying that I'm worse than the worm in the stool. I'm more fallen the worm in the stool. So that is the mood of the acharyas. Of course, it takes a lot of time to get practice. Just like a land is a barren land, but when we cultivate the land, then we can produce grains. Immediately grains won't come. So before harvesting, cultivation is there. Plow the land and give fertilizer to the land and give water to the land and keep it for some time in the sun, and then again put cow dung and so on. Then when you cultivate, do all this, these are called samskaras. When you perform these samskaras, then the land is ready for giving crops. Similarly, the Trinatapi Sunichana also be cultivated. It's like Krishna says in the Gita, Kshetram Kshetragya Vibhagaya. This body, idam shariram kshetram. This is kshetra. Why? Because the kshetra in the field, one person gets the result of the crops. Similarly, through this body, we can get the result of our karma. So the seed of karma we put in our past life, the result we reap from the body. That's why the body is called kshetra. It gives a result, just like the kshetra in the field gives a result of crops. Similarly, in the today's shloka, Prabhupada is mentioning that through this body we can reap the result called love for Krishna. So what is that? How can do the result? By utilizing this kshetra of the body, the senses, in the service of Rishikesha, we can reap the crop of prema, love to Krishna. And that crop cannot be immediately cultivated. So just like the land is cultivated through plowing all these things. So Trinatapi Sunichana is the cultivation. By practicing this, cultivating this Trinatapi Sunichana, the heart is ready to produce a fruit of Krishna Prema. So that can be tried. Is that proper, Prabhu?
Prabhu, wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing out so many dimensions to the whole thing. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you for your association. it clarifies a lot of things. And then, yeah, practice and theory, yes, long gap. So hopefully should be able to bridge that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a very
Hare
wonderful
Krishna.
class. Sankarshan Priyadas here, Prabhuji. I have one doubt, Prabhuji. So you said, Prabhuji, we actually, the senses see, and then it experiences, and then the impression is actually created, right, Prabhuji? So where these impressions are stored, Prabhuji? Because it may not be in the grass body, like brain or somewhere, because when we move out from the grass body, so it may not get transferred, right, if it is stored in the grass body. So where it is stored, Prabhuji, these impressions, or the sitting
So,
place of mind?
so we got two kinds of senses. One is called external senses and internal sense. So the external senses are divided into two. One set of senses are called knowledge acquiring senses, Jnanendriya, and another set of senses called Karmendriya, working senses. These are five each. So 10 of them put together is called external senses. And there is one internal sense that is called as mind or antakarana. So the external senses, the 10 senses, they go away with this body. When the person dies, these senses also go away. But the antakarana mind goes with the jiva to next life also. The same mind continues. So the samskaras are staying in the mind of the person. That's why Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport today that that a person, through the activity of thinking, feeling, and willing, he creates his next body in the subtle body. The plans are recorded in the spool of one's mind as bija. So these plans are recorded, like just like when a person sings. Previously used to have this gramophone recorder, and so whatever they sing, it get recorded in that disc, the CD or whatever. So then, even though the singing is stopped, those recordings are there, impressions are there in that CD. And again, when the particular opportunity comes, when the machine or pointed machine touches that CD, it becomes ignited in the samskara. That impression brings forth the music again, song again, like that. The mind, in the mind, the samskaras, the mind get registered. Whenever we perform activity, immediately we have experience. That experience get deposited in the mind. Then in the mind carries the impressions. When there is an opportune moment, the impression again get ignited, and then the person performs, remembers, and activities are performed.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for taking so much time and explaining so much in detail. I think it was a real nectar of nectar, I would say, because it goes to a very different level of understanding as well. For me personally, it's been a very big learning. Thank you. We wish to have your association more often, Prabhu. Before we just conclude, we just do the Krishna Pranam.
Thank you for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice class. We look forward to have your association again and again, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Hare Bol.
Thank you so much. I just end the session now. Thanks, devotees, for just joining today. Thank you so much. We'll just meet again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.